Rabbit at Rest by John Updike. Characters, Summary, Analysis. Hello and welcome to the discourse. Rabbit at Rest is the fourth and final novel of the Rabbit series that was published in the year 1990. It is one of the most detailed novels by John Updike, in which he explores the desire for death that we all carry inside us using his character Harry Rabbit Angstrom. The story is set in the late 1980s. Harry is an obese 55-year-old man suffering from overweight and heart issues. He still suffers problems because of his libido. In the prequel, Rabbit is Rich, he engaged in the practice of wife swapping, and Thelma Harrison, the wife of one of his old college friends and competitor Ron, became his long-term mistress. Rabbit and his wife Janice have retired, and since the actual owner of the family business, Toyota dealership, is Janice, she has handed it over to Nelson, who is suffering from drug addiction and is unable to maintain the business. Harry still misses his daughter Rebecca, who died as Janice accidentally drowned her in the bathtub during her infancy. However, his granddaughter Judy, daughter of Nelson and Pru, is 11 years old now, and she has a good relationship with Harry. Nelson's younger son, Roy, is less attached to Harry and seems wary and fearful of Rabbit, much like Nelson. Characters of Rabbit at Rest. Harry Rabbit Angstrom is again the protagonist of the novel. He used to be a vibrant, handsome, athletic basketball star of his college during his youth. But now he is an obese 55-year-old man who has retired from his wife's family business at a Toyota dealership. His wife Janice has given the authority of the business to their son Nelson, who is a drug addict and confused person and can hardly handle the business. Nelson's wife is Pru, and they have two kids, 11-year-old Judy, who is close to her grandfather, and 4-year-old Roy, who, like his father Nelson, doesn't have a cordial relationship with Rabbit. Ron is an old college mate of Harry, who used to be a rival basketball player. Ron and Harry never had a good relationship, though they often pretended to be friends. Thelma Harrison is Ron's wife. She developed a relationship with Harry, and she has been his mistress. Cindy Market is another woman whom Harry lusted for during his younger days. Ruth is another woman with whom Harry had an extramarital affair, and he impregnated her but left her without confirming if she gave birth to their child or not. Harry often wonders about that child. Annabella is the nurse treating Harry at the hospital in Florida, and he suspects that Annabella is his and Ruth's daughter. Summary of Rabbit at Rest. The story is set in late 1980s, just before the decade of the 1990s. Harry Angstrom is now 55 years old. He never had good relationship with his wife Janice, yet they managed to continue their marriage for 33 years despite all odds. Their son Nelson is grown up now, and he is married to Pru. He completed his graduation from Kent University. Harry got the ownership and management of Toyota dealership in Brewer, Pennsylvania in inheritance after the death of his father-in-law. However, since his wife Janice was the actual owner, she decided to hand over the business to their son Nelson, forcing Harry to retire from business. Harry was not in favor of allowing Nelson to control the business, but he couldn't oppose Janice. Nelson is drug addicted, and instead of paying attention to the business, he often siphons off money from business to his drug addiction. Harry knows about it and remains pensive and depressed about the future. Nelson continues to ruin the business, and ultimately he loses the Toyota dealership. After retirement, Harry has grown fat, and because of almost no work, he is leading an unhealthy life and often remains depressed. He is addicted to eating snacks and fails to control himself. During the cold season, Harry and Janice retreat to Florida, and then they return during the summer. However, Harry doesn't have a good relationship with Nelson, and thus he often spends his time in Florida. He is very close to his granddaughter Judy, who is now a growing up teenager, turning out to be a beautiful lady. Harry feels that while Judy is becoming a responsible adult, he can be a child again with her. His grandson Ron doesn't like Harry much. One day, during his stay in Florida, when Judy was with him, he goes for a fishing excursion. During their fishing, Judy falls off the boat, and Harry realizes that she doesn't know how to swim. The accident reminds him of his dead daughter Rebecca, who accidentally drowned in a bathtub during her infancy. At the same time, Harry suffers a heart attack. Harry is too fat to act swiftly, but he gathers all his courage to save Judy from drowning even while succumbing to his failing heart, redeeming his earlier failure. He is hospitalized in Florida, where a nurse, Annabella, is assigned to take care of him. As Harry recuperates, he develops a rapport with Annabella, who looks familiar to him. He starts suspecting that Annabella is his daughter from his extramarital affair with Ruth. He tries to know about Annabella's past, but fails to come to any conclusion. Meanwhile, he learns about the death of Thelma Harrison, with whom he developed a relationship during his trip to Caribbean, in which they engaged in wife-swapping activity. Thelma had been his mistress since then, but she died of lupus. As Harry gains health, he returns to Brewer to join Thelma's funeral. During the funeral, Thelma's husband Ron confronts Harry about his extramarital affair with his wife. Harry had no answer, but he succeeds in calming down Ron, and then they resolve their dispute during a golf game. Harry also meets Cindy Market, whom he always lusted for during his younger years. However, she has completely changed, and now she is a fat, angry woman whom Harry cannot appreciate. Harry suffers more depression and questions if there is any motive for his life. The only solace he gets is in seeing Judy grow up into an impressive teenager. As Nelson lost Toyota dealership, the family suffers monetary problems. Harry is still ill, while Janice forcibly sends Nelson to a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center. Janice herself starts working as a real estate broker. Meanwhile, Harry develops an illicit relationship with Pru, who had been too troubled by Nelson's carelessness and debauchery. While the family starts recuperating from the financial problems, Janice discovers the illicit relationship between Harry and Pru and gets too much angry. She knew about Ruth, Thelma, and Cindy, but she couldn't bear the thought that Rabbit made a physical relationship with his daughter-in-law. Rabbit realizes his mistake but couldn't face Janice out of his cowardice and decides to run back to Florida. In Florida, Harry decides to develop a new enthusiasm towards life and starts exercising and improving his health. One day, he sees a local boy playing basketball and it reminds him of his college days. He decides to challenge the boy and they engage in a game. Harry struggles but succeeds in winning the game, but as soon as he shouts hooray for his win, he suffers a major heart attack. While he is in hospital, Janice and Nelson rush to Florida to take care of him. They reach the hospital in Florida at the time. Harry is still alive. He sees Janice and asks for forgiveness. Janice forgives him for cheating on her, and he and Nelson express their acceptance of each other. Rabbit dies peacefully, having repaired his most intimate relationships. So this is it for today. We will continue to discuss the history of American English literature. Please stay connected with the discourse. Thanks and regards.